Today, we're comparing two paddles at extremely different price points. We have the Franklin Activator, which is the cheapest single paddle you can buy on Amazon at $11.49. And we have the Carbon 3X 16mm at $230. I was actually pretty surprised by the results. We'll get into accurate spin comparisons, sweet spot analysis, power rankings, and so much more. So without further ado, let's dink straight into it. The Franklin Activator comes in around 10.5 ounces, which makes this paddle by far the heaviest paddle I've ever tested. This thing is like swinging around a literal sledgehammer. My shoulder and my arm got so fatigued making this video, it did make for some good laughs on the court though. I let a guy I was playing with on the court know what the video was about, and he thought it was awesome. I let him feel how heavy the Activator is, and he started laughing. And I could immediately tell he was regretting being on my team, but only jokingly. The Activator has a very small grip length at 4.75 inches, and honestly, it feels even smaller than that. The face of the paddle is made of a 7-ply construction, according to Franklin, so basically, it's just made of wood. The Carbon 3X, on the other hand, is a thermoformed unibody design paddle, utilizing the highest quality T700 raw carbon fiber surface for maximum spin and durability. The Carbon comes in at $230, and you can get $23 off by using code STS PICKLEBALL at checkout, making the price just $207. The 3X comes in around 8 ounces, which is 2.5 ounces lighter than the Franklin Activator, which was so much more gentle on my shoulder and my elbow for sure. Carbon also reinforces their 5.25-inch handle with carbon fiber to dampen vibration, which helps with tennis elbow and hand fatigue, which made the Carbon feel like a luxury sports car in comparison. The spin comparison, while being a pretty massive difference, honestly kind of surprised me. I felt like even with the 7-ply very low quality wooden face of the Activator, I was actually able to get some balls to spin over the net and stay in the court with medium pace, which honestly, I thought that was going to be impossible. You can see in the side-by-side clips that the Activator is spinning almost 2 times less than the Carbon. I feel like it was slightly less noticeable on medium powered drives. When you're not putting a ton of force into the ball, of course it's easier to keep it in the court, but on harder drives and definitely on hard serves, I had a hard time controlling the ball with the Activator. This is where the Carbon really shined. The spin for the Activator came in at 1100 RPM, and the spin for the Carbon 3X came in at 1986 RPM, so a pretty massive difference in spin. A huge lesson for me when making this video is that technique is the most powerful thing you can do to enhance your pickleball game. Since learning how to properly serve, drive, and dink the ball, I was able to control and outplay opponents even with the $10 paddle. When you're trying to do something unorthodox, you have to get creative in your approach. And I really just love that creative process. How can I win with this $10 paddle? And like I said, I did end up winning games. I only lost 2 games. One game I lost by 1 point and the other by only 3 points, which was so cool to see and shows that by working on my technique so hard lately, it's really been paying off. So for the power ranking, I gave the Activator a 7.8 out of 10, and for pop, I gave it an 8.7 out of 10. I gave the Carbon a solid 9.4 out of 10 for power and a 7.8 out of 10 for pop. The Carbon is lightweight, way more aerodynamic, and feels extremely hot off the face, even when I don't get a perfectly centered sweet spot rip. So the sweet spot on the Activator is basically a dime. I mean, it was honestly hilarious when I missed the sweet spot how dead the ball is off the side of the face. I have a clip here showing me bouncing the ball on the Activator sweet spot and then bouncing it on the side of the face. And you can see the ball almost won't bounce at all. It's like the ball is stuck to the side of the face. And here we have the Carbon bouncing on the sweet spot and the Carbon bouncing on the side of the face. And as you can see, the ball bounces much easier off the side of the face on the Carbon. The sweet spot and the distribution of usable area is just massive on the Carbon's face. I switched from the Carbon to the Activator mid-game and we were just dying laughing every time I missed the sweet spot. The ball just almost didn't move at all. It just kind of died and fell right off the face. Again, it made for some really fun games and a lot of laughs, which in my eyes was definitely worth the $10. So for sweet spot ranking, I gave the Activator a 5 out of 10, which is of course by far the lowest score I've ever given a paddle. I think in my eyes, anything under 5 would be completely unusable. So 5 is just, barely usable. I gave the Carbon a solid 8.4 out of 10 for sweet spot ranking. The Carbon feels really good, even in comparison to a lot of the other top paddles right now. The off-center shots I hit during my games felt way less punishing. It was honestly really interesting to test these two paddles like this because it gave me such a deep appreciation for how far tech has come in the paddle industry, which is pretty cool. So for the soft game, of course, as long as you hit the sweet spot on the activator, it does feel pretty solid. When dinking and in resets, it is more poppy, which makes it a bit harder to control. I will say though, another golden nugget from this comparison is my newfound appreciation for pop. I honestly felt like when dinking off the sweet spot, every ball popped off the face with such little effort, it felt like autopilot. So that was really interesting to feel. I wouldn't really want that for consistency in all aspects of my game, but something about that feeling kind of clicked for me. When I switched back to the Carbon 3X, I had to add a touch more power to my dinks, which took a minute to get back used to. But of course, when I got back into the groove with the 3X, the sweet spot and the more controlled feeling off the face was night and day. So for feel and soft game ranking, I still have to give the activator a realistic score. The reality is you're not going to hit the sweet spot every time, and when you don't, the ball drops dead off the face and doesn't even go over the net, which again was absolutely hilarious. So I gave the activator a 6 out of 10 for feel and soft game ranking. The Carbon just has a ginormous sweet spot and solid pop with a really nice feel off the face. A big thing about the Carbon is that I could feel where the ball impacts on the face. There's a ton of feedback, which is extremely helpful to learn and adapt over time, knowing where you're striking the ball. So the Carbon comes in at a solid 8.4 out of 10 for feel and soft game ranking, which is a really high score. So challenge yourself. Grab a $10 paddle, see if you can win some games. Really focus on the sweet spot and see if you can accomplish something out of the box. Then go back to your daily driver paddle and see how nice it is to have a massive sweet spot again. I really just can't say anything other than the fact that this was just such a fun comparison and an awesome personal challenge. When everyone was checking out the Franklin activator and they were just laughing and smiling and just having a good time, I don't know. Moments like this really remind me how much I love this community. It's just so cool to me how everyone is so collaborative and supportive. It just really means the world to me. I don't think I've smiled or laughed this much playing pickleball literally ever, and I really hope that this video was as much fun for you as it was for me. If you want to see the top 5 highest spinning paddles in 2023, click here. We'll see you in the next video. See ya.